Welcome to the Birth Room Podcast, where holy ground meets bare feet and the wilderness of labor enters sacred space. We are your hosts, Sydney Hagan and Nicole Smith. I'm Sydney, founder of Untamed Birth, birthkeeper and educator, mother of 3, 2 of which born unassisted at home.
And I'm Nicole, founder of the Rewild Birth Collective, birth servant and herbalist. I'm also the mother to 5 wildly wonderful children who are all born at home.
Together, we invite you into honest conversations at the threshold of life, where birth is not a medical event to be managed, but a holy unfolding, raw, reverent, and real, rooted in radical responsibility. The birth room is not one place. It takes many forms. Sterile halls, candlelit bedrooms, quiet tubs, moving cars or crowded clinics, linen sheets, plastic covers, or bare ground. But no matter where it unfolds, birth is holy ground. It is where the veil thins, the breath of God hovers close. In cries and stillness, in pain and power, birth is sacred. Welcome to the birth room. Stories, wisdom, and truth from the edge of life's beginning. Today's episode is one that is so near and dear to my heart, as I had the sacred honor of attending this birth as the birth keeper. And what unfolded was absolutely unforgettable. Zach and Shelby are high school sweethearts and parents of 5, and in this episode, we talk about marriage, faith, loss, and what it looks like to fully surrender to birth and to each other. We walk through all of their births, and they've truly done it all. A hospital birth, a redemptive home birth, a romantic birth center birth, a heartbreaking loss, and finally, a worship-filled, unassisted birth at home. This conversation is tender and powerful, a testimony of trust in the holy wilderness of birth. Let's jump right in.
Sarah.
Okay, welcome, Zach and Shelby. Thank you for being our second and third guests on the podcast. Yeah. I'm really excited. So start by briefly, introducing yourselves, talking a little bit about who you are, where you come from, your family.
I'm Shelby.
I'm Zach.
And this is Zach. We have 4 kids. We have girl, boy. They're all 7 and under. Yeah.
Been together for 15 years, but married for 12.
Yeah.
High school sweetheart, started dating when I was 17.
Aww. Right before my 16th birthday.
Who made the first move?
Zach took me to the beach and said, "You know what? I think we're more than friends." And I was like, yeah, I can see that.
And I said, let's not date yet. I want to try to take it slow. She's like, all right, cool. And then we were at Domino's. Dominic's.
An Italian restaurant, yeah.
And I was like, this is stupid. Let's just date. She's like, all right. I like that. That's good.
Sure, I'll go with whatever.
Love that. So how long until you were married?
We were together almost 3 years before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that when you joined the military?
Yeah. So we got married the day of boot camp graduation.
Yeah. So we did 3 months of not talking or seeing each other and then got married.
Oh,
That's so awesome.
I love that.
Great wedding night.
And edit.
Wow.
Leave that in.
I'm kidding. We were joking at church about how I'm going to have to edit everything out that he says because you're such a jokester.
Yes.
I'm just kidding though. I'm not going to edit anything out. It's true to you.
And true to the beauty that when God is in it and we do things His way, it's pretty epically wonderful.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have experienced a lot of seasons together. Do you want to
So
talk
many.
about any of those?
So
And you
many
feel
different
called to?
seasons. So we got married really young.
Mhm.
Didn't have, not a lot of people were excited about it for summer, but that's okay. It was still a beautiful wedding day and everything. And then we moved to California for 6 years and did military life and went through 2 deployments and had our first baby while in the military. And then Zach joined law enforcement in Virginia Beach. So then we did that for 5 years and we've had all kinds of seasons. And then he quit that. And
What branch were you in?
Marine Corps.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was doing that for 6 years, and it was actually really unique because all of my family at the time was in Florida. I think your family was transitioning
yes,
to
from
move
Florida to
somewhere
Virginia.
Virginia. And so when we went to California, we really didn't have like family around to support. Like we obviously had support, but it wasn't like right there.
It was distant.
Yeah. So it actually was really unique experience to just have each other to lean on.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't someone else to lean on there. Like when we had problems or sorrows or highs and lows, it was just us.
Yeah.
So that was kind of definitely think brought us a lot closer too.
Yeah.
And how was your faith journey during this time? Were you both Christians when you met, got married?
When we met, we were. When we got married, we were. Somewhere along the way in the military, I think we both kind of. I wouldn't say I ever walked away from the Lord. It was just kind of stopped nurturing that relationship with God. So it felt distant, and kind of like felt the disconnect just because I wasn't nurturing that relationship and investing time with Him. And so, yeah,
I totally went off the deep end. So I was walking with the Lord before the military. Then once we joined, we were still going to church stuff, probably like the first year. And after that, I pretty much turned my back on my relationship with the Lord and completely went the opposite direction. It wasn't even just like a not nurturing. It was like 100% like I didn't want anything to do with the Lord. Like I knew He was there. I knew His word was true. I knew all of that was true. But like I just had this like
intentional defiance
of like I don't want anything to do with the Lord.
How did you feel about that? How did that affect
honestly,
the two of you?
a lot of that was kind of in secret. So I didn't really. I kind of thought He was a little bit more on the same page as me, as like just a little more careless about it and like putting it lower on the priority list. But a lot of His actual defiance was kind of like it was hidden in His heart. Yeah,
there was a lot of actually kind of interesting contrast of it because started out in high school as never had any other relationship before each of us. So each handhold, each kiss, like all of that it was all our first everything. Yeah. And it went from that to getting married. So we never had any other type of relationship, any other experience, anything except for each other. Yeah. And then as like military went on, and then law enforcement, and up to probably about 4 years ago, there was just so many secrets that I know I had, and there was infidelity in there, and there was just a lot of stuff going back and forth with. So about 4 years ago, I was in a really, really bad place. At that point, like I was contemplating suicide. There was just so many things. I just put myself in a really dark hole. Yeah.
And about 4 years ago, I was kind of in the place where I was like, it felt like I knew Zach. I knew that I felt like Zach didn't love me anymore, and I knew that our marriage was kind of like going. It didn't seem like it was going to go anywhere. I was honestly thinking our marriage was going to end, but it wasn't. I wasn't going to be the one to end it because I wanted to stay in it. I hadn't fallen out of love with him, and so I stuck it out.
I legit told her one night. Like I pulled her aside one night, and I told her, I was like, "Listen," I was like, "I don't know if I love you anymore." I was like, I think the spark is gone. Okay. And I was like, it's been fun, but but basically I was like, I just don't really know how I feel anymore. Like I just feel like we're growing apart and we're distant and you don't really understand where I am anymore. And all this stuff that people say when they're doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing.
But in that year, I had started going back to church. Just honestly, it was because I wanted childcare. I had 2 kids, and he was, working the law enforcement, and he was doing midnight shifts and sleeping in the mornings and during the day. And I was like, I a little bit felt like a single parent, but he was there sometimes, but I felt a lot like a single parent. And so I would go to church. I was like, just so that I can sit for an hour by myself. But in that, the Lord definitely used that to be able to speak to my heart and to be able to rekindle a relationship with Him. And so I started getting like really into my relationship with the Lord and reading and praying and back into it. And I felt like the Lord had given me a promise that year of it being so difficult that He told me in Mark that what God has joined together, let no man separate. And I was like, this doesn't make sense because it looks like it's going the other way. But if you say so, okay. And in that, I think there was definitely a night where I was like, you know what? I kept loving him as best I could. I know his love language is words of affirmation. I'd leave him notes on the fridge every day, every night, still making him dinner, keeping the house in order. And at some point I was like, there's only so much I can do. Like, there's no way I can make somebody love me. Like I can't make someone love me. So I kind of surrendered it to the Lord and was like, all right, God, whether this works out or it doesn't, I know you got me. So I'll hold to your promise. Yeah.
And about 4 years ago when I reached that dark spot, as she's doing all this, And I honestly believe, I mean, one, it's a connection of just, it's a combination of, the Lord just reaching out and like pulling me out from where I was. But secondly, and I think I truly believe the Lord used Shelby to show me what love was again. Because if she didn't love me the way she did, I mean, again, I was doing stuff, I was being unfaithful to her, and then she wrote me this book, and was it for my birthday or for Christmas?
It was for Christmas.
And it was like 100 Reasons Why I Love You. And I'm doing stuff I shouldn't be doing. I'm reading this and I'm like, it wasn't like a thing that she was doing like out of spite or to like, hurt my feelings. It was truly just her just wanting to love me regardless of what I was doing.
Yeah.
And, like, you talk about unconditional love and you talk about everlasting love, but like she gave me, it was still is the most tangible example I have of right in front of me, tangible, touch it, feel it, unconditional love. And in that, one day I was driving to work or home from work, whatever, but I was like, I hadn't had like a true, intimate, transparent moment with the Lord in over a decade at this point. And I was all right, Jesus, like I feel I'm in this hole. I can't get out. I don't know what to do. And within 24, 48 hours, everything that I was doing kind of ceased. Everyone I was doing it with ceased. Like everything just ceased. And then I went to Shelby, and just 4 years ago, just told her everything, like every secret I could possibly think of, from the time we got married to 4 years ago, and just told her every secret, everything I could possibly think of. And within that year, the first year, I mean, we cried together, we talked together, we were, emotional together. There was a lot of crying, a lot of transparency, a lot of her asking questions. Well, what happened with this? Like, I want more detail with that. And me going, hey, I thought I said everything, but something just popped up in my brain. I need to tell you this. And it was just this year of just kind of emptying out all of the trash, everything. And it's amazing because now, 4 years later, it's cool because I can honestly say with confidence that me and her have no secrets between the two of us, like absolutely nothing. And if ever, it's kind of funny, but not funny. But like, even like, we're all human. So like, if I'm like outside or food line or whatever, and like I have an intrusive thought, and then let's say I like linger on that thought for just like a second, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. I should have just let it like, captivate the thought, make it be. But I kind of slipped. I lingered on something for a second. Like I'll come home and be like, Shelby, listen, this is what happened. I had this thought. I didn't cast it out. It was in my head. And, like, but I will like, because we know how important and how treasured our transparency and I don't know, just the freedom that comes with having absolutely no secrets, and the love that you feel, because you have a great saying. What is it? It's with unconditional and
if you want to be unconditionally loved, you have to be unconditionally known. So for us to unconditionally know each other is the only way that we can unconditionally love each other.
Yeah. So if you want to experience, what we have found to be true is that if you want to experience the unconditional love, you have to be unconditionally known. You can't just conditionally let your spouse only know what you want them to know. They have to know everything. Just like, your marriage is supposed to mirror your relationship with Jesus. And obviously Jesus knows everything, whether you tell him or not. But the point of it is you confess to the Lord, and you confess and you have this like back and forth transparency with Jesus. And you're supposed to have that with your spouse, we believe. And that's what marriage is created to be. And we've really been walking in that, and it's been amazing. The Lord has done with that.
Beautiful
That's
testimony,
incredible.
guys. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when we talk even in birth, you answered it beautifully.
Has me to share. That was incredible.
Yes, it was. And we talk so often in birth how words are powerful and words are so important. And it really does have the power to change everything.
Yeah.
So just that outward admission to whatever. That's
Confess your sins one to another that you may be healed, the Bible says, right? And we share, God built that in, that we can find true healing, but we have to take the step of confessing it so that we can find healing and have that in each other.
I mean, I could talk about this for hours, but it's
could be a whole episode in itself.
But it's just been really cool the way the Lord's shown us different things. But even that, like, I know growing up, I was always told to have an accountability partner. Like, you tell your spouse one thing, but you have an accountability partner that's, I have another guy that I talk to, and I tell him all my, weird guy stuff. Secrets. But like me and my spouse, like we don't talk about that. And it's debatable. I mean, that's still something that I don't think there's like a clear cut, like this is what exactly the Bible says to do. But again, our marriage is supposed to mirror that with the Lord. And what we have found is that when we are first, like when we had a lot of secrets, or I had a lot of secrets, or I mess up or I slip up, and I confess to her first, like you have that raw emotion, you have that raw transparency, you have that raw, like, I'm so sorry, like I feel ashamed, like, but like you have that experience where if I go tell a guy first and then come and give her the second leftovers, she doesn't get to see that.
Right. And
so
I'm like, aren't you sorry? Like, where's your
I already cried about it.
yeah,
George.
exactly.
But it's interesting because, I mean, full circle to birth, right? It's going into like that birth space. It's different going into it with no secrets and that transparency back and forth, rather than like the first 2 births where I had all these secrets and she didn't really know what I was doing or who I really was. Whereas the last 2 that we've had has been no secret, and just the contrast. I mean, all 4 of them were amazing. All the kids are amazing, but there's just the experience with us as a couple was a lot different in those last 2 than the first 2.
Because birth is so vulnerable to begin with. So once there's that emotional and spiritual vulnerability already present, it kind of creates the foundation for there to be freedom in being physically vulnerable in birthing babies.
So share that. Let's walk through each of your first. Let's do your first 2 or 3, and then
Sure. So my first was a hospital birth at the Naval Hospital. I knew from very early on. I knew very early on that I wanted to have as natural as possible. Natural being like unmedicated, and honestly, it might have been mostly because I was afraid of needles and I passed out with needles. So I was like, don't want the epidural, anything but that.
Actually, we joke around it all the time. I've had a bunch of surgeries, but I've had 4 epidurals. So we always joke that. More epidurals than
Way
her.
more than me. But yeah, I remember there being a lot of people that were like, oh, just wait till you're in it. Like, you're going to change your mind. And it kind of came more from a place of like, you can't do it, kind of like that's what it felt like. And, you know, everybody, I'm in complete support of, if you want an epidural, get an epidural, like do it how you want to do it. But for me, it was motivated to like, I don't want to do it. And then I felt like people were like, you're not going to be able to.
So then you're like, I'll show you.
Like, okay, well,
so
I'll be
sad.
open-minded and, you know, I'll just go with it and see what happens. And so Zach and I took a Bradley method class, and he was involved in that. And I think he learned a lot with it too. And
100%.
so my water broke prematurely with my first in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. and
Just super funny, by the way. I'm just like, so, okay, well, number one, it was amazing because I was supposed to give a presentation because I was an instructor at the time to a bunch of really like high up important people, and I was super nervous about it, and her water breaking, I was like, sweet, I don't have to go in. So super relieving.
Same.
But this funny thing is like, we know, like I know her, like I was confident in her abilities and everything. We did the Bradley method, we were prepared and we were prepped for the first one, but like she woke me up, and it's the first kid, right? So you're kind of like still on like the edge of your seat. So she woke me up like 3 a.m. She's like, hey, honey, listen. She's like, my water broke. Everything's fine. I'm gonna go back to sleep. And I just remember waking up like, what? Your water? We gotta do something. I'm like, what do we do? And she was like, nothing. We're just gonna go sleep.
I was like, I'm not having any labor contractions. Like nothing's in pattern. Nothing. There's not any intensity with them. Like, let's just see how it goes.
It was just so calm.
Yeah,
Which is just so fitting, knowing how you birth. So
yeah, but we did call the Naval Hospital and let them know. And they're like, well, you really shouldn't go any more than 12 hours before you come in. And then, you know, as I went about the day, the contractions still weren't consistent. There still didn't feel like any pattern. So we ended up waiting 15 hours. And then we went in, even though I still was like, I'm not sure I'm really in it. So we went there, they gave me the hep block. I passed out. And then came back 5 seconds later. But that labor was a little frustrating overnight, just because I remember the nurse being like, we were trying to make nice with the nurse and be friendly. And I was like, hey, do you enjoy being in labor and delivery? And she's like, I kind of wish I was in the emergency room. And I was like, great, I'm glad to be here too.
Thanks.
But they very much, they had me on fetal monitoring the entire time. And I was really hopeful for like freedom of movement through it. So I was frustrated that, you know, that was happening. The midwife at the time was like, hey, your water's been broken for X amount of time. You really should get Pitocin. And Zach was a good advocate and was like, hey, can we talk about this first? So Zach and I talked, and I was like, I really don't want the Pitocin. And so when she came back, we were like, okay, what if we do the lowest dose
real quick
possible?
Sidebar, as like someone trying to like advocate and support her, like it's a little not nerve-wracking, especially like, you know, it's intimidating because you have doctors and nurses who've been doing it for years, and they start spewing off all these statistics and research and like and so it was really helpful to just be like, hey, that's great, can we have a moment, can we just have a couple minutes to talk about it, which is great because like no doctor ever is gonna be like, no, make a decision. So like it's nice.
well,
to, like,
that's not entirely true, but
well, maybe they will. But it was just a nice little, I think what we found was it was a nice little don't know, strategy, whatever you want to call it, to kind of like just take a breath and like process everything a little
right.
bit.
Because she was a little worked up at the time too. She was like, if you want to go against my professional medical opinion, that's on you. I'm like, just give us a minute. Just a minute. But she came back and we're like, can we start with the lowest dose possible? And she was like, this is shockingly, she was like, I've never done that before. I'm sorry, what? But she said, okay, we can do that. And if it's not, making progress, then we can up it at that point. I'm like, all right, fine. So did the lowest dose possible, and those contractions kicked in.
With the lowest dose possible.
The lowest dose possible. But yeah, that happened all overnight, and it was super frustrating. I hated being all hooked up to stuff and saline bags, and I ended up crying in the bathroom because I just had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, I have to carry this coat rack with me everywhere. I wanted to be free to do stuff, and but once they switched over to the day nurses, they saw what my plan was and what I wanted to be doing. They're like, well, get out of bed. Come on, let's get up and start moving. So they checked me at like 6 o'clock and was like 5 centimeters. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding?
That was 6 a.m.?
That's 6 a.m.
So about 24 hours.
And then I got up. And then...
the day nurses were great. They were like, get up, go on the ball, like do whatever you need to do. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, about 8:30, I was like... I felt like it was happening, and they were like, oh yeah, she's pushing. And I was like, oh, okay. So less than 2 hours later, baby's ready to come out.
That's awesome.
And baby was born at 8:57. She tore me up. I would say the stitches probably hurt a lot more than the baby. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she looked like she was hurting. Like, you've seen her give birth. Like, she doesn't make a sound. Like, she's...
I did have like 8 people in the room, and there was like, honestly, it was kind of cool that they were all pretty amazed to see, like, they're like, that baby's so pink, that baby is like so calm, like, it was cool.
It was kind of, again, surprisingly enough, like there were like she said, like 8 other people in there, not even like involved. They just wanted to see somebody
quietly giving birth with no epidural.
Yeah, like she got Pitocin with no epidural, and there were all these people like, oh, I want to see someone give a vaginal birth. Like, I don't think, like, they were just like, we've never seen that happen. So they were just
in the naval hospital.
So it was just they were all like interested. They really wanted to see it.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
thank you for showing them.
Yeah.
What natural birth can be. Yeah.
Well, then my second was our first home birth and my only water birth. And we had him in the 3rd-story apartment that we were living in.
In the pool.
In a pool. It was cool.
And was this in Virginia Beach?
That was in Chesapeake. Yeah,
okay.
It was in Chesapeake. Yeah. But that one was a lot different. It was an interesting transition to have that first experience and then going to the second experience. Honestly, I didn't even realize I was having contractions because they're so different from Pitocin contractions. I was like, I'm not sure. Maybe they're contractions. I can't tell. So there's that. And then pushing was definitely totally different ballgame too, because in the hospital it was coach pushing. It was like, this is when you push, this is what you need to do. You need to bear down and everything like that. And then the next one I had midwives, which they were great, but they were like, I was like, when do I push? And they're like, just whenever your body tells you to. And I was like, I need some guidance. I don't know what I'm doing. so that was a little
what
hard to
brought
navigate.
you to choosing a home birth with your second?
I kind of I really had the confidence in my body's ability, and especially having the first one. I was like, oh, I totally could have done that. And it didn't seem like there was any complications, and my pregnancy didn't have any complications with it either. So
did the hep-lock have anything to do with you choosing home?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I was like, no chance in needle. But yeah, I just felt confident in being able to do it, and I don't know. I felt maybe I trusted myself and more than the doctors. I don't know.
How did you feel about that?
At the home birth, I was.
He was very supportive early on. He was like, "If you feel good about it, then I feel good about it."
Yeah, she knows herself very well. I think she's very self-aware, very self-attuned. Like she just knows herself very well.
Yeah.
So if she comes in with the confidence of like, "Hey, like I can do this," I'm like, "All right, tight, let's do it."
Yeah.
So there was definitely the second one was there was a like.
There's a little bit more emotional stuff beforehand that was going on. We had a close friend. There was a suicide within our friend group that was pretty close, and it was the wife of Zach's best friend, and it week of Thanksgiving, and my baby was due December 3rd. So, I was like, well, you need to go be with him. Like, you need to go be there for him. So Zach stayed with him for that week, like leading up to me supposed to be having a baby. And then my baby never came come December 3rd. So then I was starting to stress out. I was like, oh, maybe I'm putting too much stress on myself and I'm worried about this. So I'm keeping the baby from wanting to come out so I thought I was hurting my baby by being stressed out. And then that started a vicious cycle of like, I'm stressing out because I'm stressing out my baby, and I'm stressing out because of my baby. And so there was all that. And then Zach was home when I finally went into labor. It was December 11th before I actually had the baby. But the funeral was the very next day.
Yeah, you were like there for a birth, and then went to funeral
highs.
the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, it was definitely a high and low of emotions.
High, low, yeah. It was an interesting emotional time. It's still a beautiful birth.
That was great. Yeah, the midwives were amazing. Like they made dinner afterwards. They did like the laundry. They were fantastic.
So clearly a stark difference between postpartum with midwives and postpartum in the hospital.
Recovery at home.
And how about your prenatal care? What kind of differences did you notice with that?
I mean, less intrusive and just very easygoing. They trusted what I said rather than having to check out everything all the time.
That's kind of the neat part. Even with like all of our experiences, like, I mean, I know like sometimes with the medical field it's difficult because there are some really, really good doctors out there that have a great balance of like medicinal care and natural and like trusting the patient. But there's also ones where you're like, yeah, I feel like this, and you're like, it's not how you feel. Like,
let me tell you how you feel.
Let me tell you.
Yeah. And again, it's not every doctor, but like they're definitely out there. And so it's like it's also with the midwives. We started doing it with home births. It was refreshing for Shelby to be like, well, I feel like this, but I feel everything's fine. And like, oh, it's tight, cool. You know, you're probably the best. I think it was just this trust. It was kind of refreshing.
Yeah, it's empowering when your medical care also trusts you.
They're hearing what you're saying and respecting you as a human. Exactly. They're not God.
Nope.
They're your equal who are there to support and welcome.
Yes, they are with women. They are not above women.
Yes.
We've also, so some of the prenatal care we've gotten to, we've like knowing we're doing a home birth, we've gotten the prenatal care from doctors and then went
with our last one.
But even then there was a doctor who was really cool because they got like the due date wrong. And Shelby was like, honestly, I feel like it's this date. They're like, I don't really know. And then they came in, the doctor was like, well, maybe we should have just trusted what you said. But then we also like that doctor was pretty cool. But she was like, maybe if we just listen to women more. So we're really like,
love that.
So what was baby number 3 like?
Baby number 3 was a really cool experience. So she was after Zach and I kind of like renewed everything and we're in our healing journey, and she came a couple years after. And so that one was honestly, I would describe it as romantic. Like I would describe that labor as romantic. Like it was, we did it in a birth suite in Virginia because we had moved to North Carolina, and North Carolina laws don't recognize CPM. So we went over the border so that we could still get the midwifery care. And we had her in a birth suite. They were super awesome. Same thing, my water broke prematurely with that one also. So, but once I was having contractions, they let me come in and they're like, it might be some time. So they just let us hang out in the birth suite by ourselves. They left, and Zach and I slow danced, swayed through contractions. We had like really sweet music playing. There was dim lights, and it was just a really cool, refreshing, renewing, and I thought it was romantic. But
it was unique because like with the last one, like the home birth changed everything. But when we were going through labor, the midwives were there, and so it wasn't like we were by ourselves. They kept coming, checking us. So like she said, like when we got there, like, oh, you're still pretty, like, not close to it yet. So they left, and it was literally just us in this birthday suite. Someone else was watching the kids. The kids weren't there, and so we had like 8 hours before they came back. Where it was just me and her. There was no TV. There was nothing. It was just me and her. And the cool part about that one too, and so that was for Lila, our second daughter, but. The cool one with that one was that with Zoe and Jet, we were walking through a lot of our dark times. Yeah. And so she was the first birth where we had no more secrets, where our relationship was renewed and redeemed and had new life, through the Lord. And so when she got pregnant with Lila, it was actually something that the Lord spoke to me about, where I was struggling, thinking that I could never, like, I felt like nothing good could come from me anymore. And so when she got pregnant, it was like the Lord speaking to me, saying that, like, look, something good still can come from you, through, obviously through the Lord, but it gave me that hope that, like, you're not lost, you're not done. You're not, like, and so there was just so much, like, we kind of got a lot like our redemptive baby, because that was the first one we had after we kind of came through everything, and we were working on our relationship, and all the secrets are gone, and then we had full transparency. I remember, I think it was the drive up there, maybe a couple days before, we were like, all right, anything that we need to get off our chest, like anything that we have any secrets about. I was like, oh no, let me think. I don't think so. Like, we wanted to make sure that birthing experience was
tainted in that,
covered in transparency and vulnerability, and just absolutely nothing kept from each other.
Yeah,
and we definitely felt you said, like, the romantic side of birth. I truly believe because of that transparency, because of the lack of secrets, because of that,
definitely.
I don't know, that just this openness with each other.
I think go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, what kind of differences between the home birth and the birth center birth could you really differentiate there that would be important maybe to some of our listeners who are trying to decide between a home birth and a birth center birth?
So it wasn't necessarily a birth center, it was just a birth suite. So it was still like home birth wives. So I don't know how it translates to like a birth center. It really was just a room set up, like a bedroom within a home birth midwife's office.
But it wasn't
having
at
to
home.
travel back.
But having to travel
and
I very much enjoy recovering at home. From second and fourth babies, I can say I very much enjoy recovering at home. Like that is just something so much easier and so much more peaceful, and like to actually feel like I'm done. I've done it. Like I've birthed my baby, and that's done. Now you can rest and recover, enjoy the baby, like all that. Versus if you have it in the birth suite, then you're comfortable, but not as comfortable as you possibly can be, and like you're not. There's still the drive home. You're still anticipating being able to fully relax and recover, or get into recovery mode.
Yeah. How long were you able to stay after the birth?
So they wanted to do the 24-hour screening, so they let us stay for 24 hours.
Okay. That's better than a lot.
Yeah.
That's what
Some
I
are like 4
hours. 4 hours.
It wasn't rushed at all. It was great. Like they had like a microwave and a little kitchen and everything. So I think I remember running out to the store. I got like 10 different like frozen meals.
Right, little microwave
like,
meals.
Put like potato skins in the microwave.
Yeah.
So you didn't get your midwife home cooked meal.
No, that's okay though.
Yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
Just like being home is better, but
yeah.
I think it's pretty awesome that you touched on the romantic nature of birth, because all these headlines, pain-free, orgasmic,
Right.
all these things feel very unattainable. But to have true to life, real people saying that there was romance. We say all the time in the birth world, the same love that puts the baby in helps the baby to come. And it's just good to hear that. Yeah.
So are you guys comfortable sharing about your loss? Do you want to talk about that? Okay.
Yeah. So I think, how old was Lila? Lila was only a few months.
It was Mother's Day.
She's like 9 months old.
August. Yeah, she wasn't a year yet. So we were about like 9 months
she's
old.
about 9 months old, and we were pregnant again. And I was, we were poor at the time, so I was on Medicaid. And I still had an outstanding balance with my previous midwives. So we went through the medical care that Medicaid covered. So we went through doctors and everything. And so I went and got my ultrasound at 6 weeks, and she was there. And then at 9 weeks we went again, and I was there by myself because I think Zach had to work.
Yeah, that was I had been at every single appointment, ultrasound, everything, every single, and so I just started a new job, and it was literally like next door to it. And so she was like, "Hey, I have the ultrasound." She's like, "I know you have a big event coming." Like, it was something with work. They were like, she was like, "Don't worry, it's just a checkup. You're fine. Like, it's okay to miss it." I was like, "Are you sure? Like, I really want to come." She's like, "No, you just started. Like, go do your thing." The only appointment I missed was the one where. Yeah.
So I'm in there, and they're doing the check, and like I kind of know what's going on. I'm like, don't hear the heartbeat. And I'm not panicking. I don't know. I don't process stuff very quickly when it comes to, tragedy, I guess. But so I knew it was going on, and the sonographer, she was like, I'm just gonna step out a second. I was like, okay. And then the midwife comes in and she's like, honey, do you know what's going on? And I was like, my baby doesn't have a heartbeat. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. She was like, are you okay? And I was like, I think I don't know. She's like, okay. Like, they kind of didn't really know like how to be there for me. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And so then they were like, all right, well, let's get you in a room and we'll talk about it and whatnot. And then Zach came over, and of course I cried then. But yeah, and then so we had lost her at 9 weeks, and yeah, it was hard because it was just a missing heartbeat at first. So our church is very much for healing, and we believe in miracles, and we believe in that power. So we went home and we prayed hard. We leaned on our community. We're like, guys, we want you to be praying for this heartbeat to come back.
Because we specifically asked the doctor, like,
we're like, can we come back tomorrow? Yeah. We want to come back tomorrow and see if there's a heartbeat. Like, we checked that heartbeat for like 3 more times.
But before the actual procedure, we asked again, like, can we see the ultrasound just again, which they said they don't normally do, but they were like, we'll do it again.
Yeah. Oh, good. And, that's so sweet.
Yeah. But we were praying real hard, and we really believed that there was going to be a heartbeat that next day. Like, we thought we were going to be able to see that. And we went in, and as we were driving in, we were listening to that, what's it, Matthew West song? Even if you don't, or Mercy Me. Even if you don't. Our hope is still in the Lord. So we went in, and there was still no heartbeat. We were like, okay, well, it took some time to process. It was a tough loss, and we still believe that her life had purpose, and Revelation says that by His will all things are created and existed. So we knew that her, however short it was, there was purpose in it, and she got to only know paradise. So that's kind of like
it's pretty magical,
a sweet thing at the same time. Like,
yeah, the thought was like, it's like, you have kids, and the whole point, like, when you have kids, like, your main focus and hope is that they know Jesus and that they live life for Jesus, and then they die. Well, we don't hope they die, but
we never see that.
Then when they pass, they go to heaven, they spend eternity with Jesus. So what was comforting was this idea that, like, life was in her womb, and Eden Jade.
Yeah, we named her.
Yeah, Eden Jade. So Eden was there. She had life, and has got like an express ticket to heaven. Like, she didn't have to worry about all the woes and troubles of life. She just got to go straight.
Yeah, express ticket. And the comfort of it was that while she was here, all she knew was security and comfort and love and safety. And then all she went to was her Savior's arms, and all she knew was comfort and safety and love and just pureness. I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's comfort in that. Yeah. Of course, we were sad that we didn't ever get to hold her in our arms, but...
But I mean, what, 2 days later was Mother's Day?
Yes.
that was...
2 days later was Mother's Day, and I remember our worship team did, what was it, Worthy is Your Name?
Yeah.
Worthy is Your Name. You deserve the praise. And I just cried through it. I was like, I believed it in my heart still. I just had such a hard time getting the words out.
Yeah.
But I still believed it, and I knew that there was still good to come from it. And like I said, I know her life had purpose, because even the doctors were like, "There's no reason for this to have happened."
Yeah, like they did the blood test.
There's no explanation for why it would have.
Medical reason for why it would have happened.
Yeah, so I was like, well, then there's purpose in it. So
that's the hard thing too. I think with healings, especially like. I know it's something that's like, I know people talk about it and debate about it, but like at the end of the day, like, God is sovereign, and God is the one that, all things pass through His hands, and the times where He doesn't heal and the times that He doesn't bring things from death to life, it's those things where you have to, and I believe that that's the exception, not the rule. I do believe that the Lord is for healing and oneness and life, but the times where He allows that to the times that He allows death and illness to keep going on, I guess. there's just that trust and that faith of just, well, I know God's in control. I know God loves me. And I think sometimes I forget this, and just the idea that, you know, God's heart breaks with your heart.
Yeah.
It's not this like impersonal, like, you know, distant, like, okay, well, you go deal with that. I'm not going to do anything and walk away. It's got to hurt his heart to be like, for some reason, from what we don't know, he's looking at the situation going, I know you want this, but that's not what I have for you right now. And you don't get it, and you're not going to know it. But you know what? Like, I'm going to walk through it with you, and my heart breaks with you, even more so in the fact that I'm not explaining it to you of why it's happening. You know what I mean?
Don't get to know
and
why.
he knows that we don't know why, and he knows that we have to trust him. And I believe that God's heart breaks with our heart.
Yeah.
And
I like to cling to that phrase. I forget who said it, but if God was small enough to understand, he wouldn't be great enough to worship.
Yeah.
So did you guys learn anything new about yourselves during this hardship?
About ourselves.
About ourselves.
Or about your faith or anything?
I will say that was probably one of the only times, at least within the last 4 years, that I had a feeling of like I couldn't help Shelby in it, because I didn't know how to relate. Like, I didn't know how to like support her in that. But unfortunately, fortunately, more unfortunately, there's a lot of people that we know in our community that have experienced miscarriages. So we were able to call upon them and be like, hey, can you just come be with Shelby for a little bit? Because there's something different with that connection with another woman who's experienced that and know exactly. I mean, everyone feels it differently, but knows what you're walking through. And it was really interesting too, just in doing that, Shelby kind of picked up on that. And I know she was like, hey, like, I don't need anyone else. Like, I just need you to be here. Like, I don't even need you to know what I'm going. I just need you to be here.
I didn't really need.
Can you expound a little bit on how you felt about praying for the miracle and God saying no to life? Can you share about that?
Yeah, it took me. I honestly, like, I still have times when I struggle with it, but it took me a solid, like, a good amount of time to like really make peace with it, because there was some anger there, because it was like, Lord, like, this is the first time I've really prayed something with expectancy that healing will happen, and it didn't. And then you start thinking of stuff like, well, maybe I didn't have enough faith, or maybe I messed it up, maybe I'm still not good enough, maybe I wasn't worthy enough for the healing, or maybe I did. And then, well, then you kind of battle with yourself, and like, well, it says you only need a mustard seed. I must have had at least a mustard seed of faith. Like, I don't understand why this didn't happen. But again, I think it's in the not knowing and knowing that there's sovereignty with the Lord. I think the most comforting thing for me was just coming to that peace of mind, that knowing that like the Lord's heart breaks with yours. And in knowing that, there's just some comfort in it, where you might still not know everything and you still don't know why. But the fact that the God that said no in that moment, his heart was breaking with you. I don't know, there's just this peace that goes beyond understanding, obviously, like what scripture tells us, right? But sometimes when you think of somebody in an authority position saying no, usually there's just like tyrannical, like overlord, like it's like, no, I will not grant you that, like, you know what I mean? But with the Lord, it's not how it is. The Lord's heart breaks with you when he says no to some of the requests that we bring forward to him. And I think just that truth that he's in it with us brought me peace in that. I
think for me it was a time of refining my faith for me, that I had this tragic thing and I got an answer of no to something I really wanted, and I was able to prove my faith that I still choose the Lord, and I still choose hope, and I still choose to trust in his love and trust that he has his will and plan and purpose over my life. And I definitely felt spiritual warfare shortly after. I felt like the enemy was coming against me personally. Like even, this sounds silly, but I have a little coffee cup that it says, today's goal, keep the tiny humans alive. And like just one day, like that following week, I was like, well, I failed. And it just it turned into like this guilt thing. And then it was a little whisper that kept telling me, that like, oh, you weren't, you wouldn't be able to handle it. You wouldn't have been able to manage 4 kids. You weren't gonna, like, that's why. And then, so obviously it was an internal battle of like, no, that is definitely lies. Like, that is definitely not of God. That is not love. That is not truth. That is not, it just wasn't of God. But in that, and in that time of like wrestling and battling that stuff, it was like, by the end of it, I knew I still choose the Lord, and I still choose to trust him. And I still know that his plan is, perfect for our lives, and that his will is good, and that he's still working things out for our good. And like I said before, like, we knew where she was. We knew she was with her Savior. We knew that her life was perfect, and that she was in the fullness of joy and love. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you were planning to go unassisted with your baby number 4, and so that kind of led into your next birth and your plan to go unassisted with this one. Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah. So initially there was probably there's like a little seed of doubt of like, oh, that last pregnancy didn't go as, as planned or as it was supposed to. So there was a little seed of doubt, but it was still like, if this pregnancy goes all the way, like, I can still do this, and my body's still capable, and, the Lord will carry me through it if that's his will. And I there was still this confidence of like, I know what our bodies are created to do, and I know what my body is capable of, and I still wanted to go about it that way. So
what originally led you to wanting an unassisted birth?
I think it was just just the confidence and knowing how intimate it was with the third baby between me and Zach, and knowing that the midwives didn't really need to be there. Like the only thing that was kind of a question mark for me was like newborn care. I was like, okay, I know I can do labor, no problem. I know Zach can help me. Well, not no problem, but but I know I can do labor myself. I know Zach can be there for that. I was like, I'm not really sure what they do with that newborn though, because I'm kind of out of it usually. So that was kind of like the only thing that I was like, I got to do my research. I got to prepare for this kind of stuff. And, we did all the stuff to, look into APGAR scores and making sure we had all the things for birth measurements and the home birth paperwork Sydney helped me with, and just the extra prep work of like, we can still do this. We just need to prepare for it.
And there was a couple people that, were like, are you sure? Like,
there's a lot of people.
We'll send you money for midwives. And we're like, no, I think we'll be fine.
I was like, no, I don't think this is a money thing.
So Zach was clearly fully on board from the moment you said, let's go unassisted.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you did to help prepare yourself to walk along Shelby in her delivery this time? Because you're going to be the man wife at this point.
Yeah. And he was. You were a rock star.
I saw.
Yeah.
Pretty magical stuff.
It was a good time. Honestly, I mean, like, there were some like practical things, right? When Sydney came over and started walking us through some of the stuff, like being present, like just paying attention, not being on your, I mean, sad that you have to, but not being on your phone when you're having an appointment, like with with your birth keeper and doula and midwife, whatever you want to call it. But like, there's like being present, and really, I think the big thing for me was just listening to her. Like, I could do a million of hours of research online about how this works, this, but really taking time to just listen to her and be like, well, what are we going to do in this scenario? Well, I think I would, do this. Okay, well, what's the line where you feel like we would need to call, 911? Well, I feel like if this happens here, I'm like, all right, cool. And kind of just honestly just being attentive and actually listening to what she wants, what she needs, what her comfort level is, and then being able to then apply that when, it's actually, it's time to do the thing,
I think there was a lot of things that I was like, I'm not going to be able to remember this when it comes time. Zach, I need you to remember this for me. I need you to take care of this because I don't know that I'm going to be able to take care of this. And so
it's that communication, just talking and communication. And I think that's comforting in a sense, because I would imagine people coming into this wanting to do unassisted, whether it's the first, second, third, fourth time doing anything, there's that intimidation of like, well, I don't know how to do, fill in the blank.
Right.
But honestly, I there's a power in just, I mean, even outside of birth, but especially with birth, there's this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's this power of just an open line of communication of, hey, what do you need from me? Hey, I think this is what I need here. Okay, I got you. Like, we can do that. And hey, well, what? And even just as the supporter, right? Thinking of all, because I don't know how anyone else is, but I think of scenarios. I'm like, okay, well, what if this happens? Okay, what if, like, you start pushing and then I see like a butt instead of a head? Like, what do we do? And do like, all right, let's research it together. And we start researching and watching videos. And like, all right, cool. Yeah, I can definitely like I got that, like, you know what I mean, like, but like you go through these like different scenarios of like, okay, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about... And again, just I think as being that in that role, just being involved and being like wanting to know more, wanting to be a part of it and things.
Do you feel like you could have done this free birth for your first or second before you had this open line of communication, or do you feel like that was a pivotal piece or an important key to getting to that point?
I have full confidence. I don't want to speak for your own, abilities here, but I have full confidence that even if I wasn't there, she would have been able to give birth. Like she, yes, like she is a rock star. Like I think any woman could do that. But I know for her, like she would have the full confidence to do it. But me being involved in it, I don't think it would have went as beautifully as it did if that line of communication wasn't so open. And that I am a full believer in that the transparency that the Lord has renewed in our marriage really made that last birth as beautiful as it was. Yeah. Like we could have done everything the same, but if we had secrets between the two of us on any level and any form, I don't think it would have been as intimate, as romantic, and as beautiful, and as just peaceful as it was. I think I think all the stuff behind the scenes played a role when it actually happened on, at game time. It wasn't just, not talking, not having a good marriage, not really communicating, not pouring into each other, not pouring into our marriage. And then like, all right, cool, intimacy, let's go. Like there was all this like behind the scenes. That wasn't specifically like, all right, cool, 2 hours on a Friday, let's talk birth. Like it was just the constant pouring into each other as best as we can with, kids and life and everything else. But like pouring into each other where we can and being intentional about our marriage. That when something as serious and intimate and romantic and monumental as birth came along, there was already a transparency, there was already a vulnerability, there was already this back and forth communication, there was already this, hey, like, let me, even with contractions, like having that like body to body communication of like, I can feel you, bearing down, let me hold you up, that, hey, I'm trying to hold you up, but you're not really, like, I'm actually like holding you up and you don't need to be held up. You just want to relax. And just even like, you have to do all that stuff prior to. But it's not about it.
No, I was just going to say, I think there's a power in vulnerability. There's a special twist on it once there's, like we were saying earlier, there's a power in the vulnerability. If you've got that transparency established emotionally and spiritually beforehand, when you go into, one of the most vulnerable things that we can do as women, and your spouse is there with you, then if you have that foundation, it's a lot easier and more special to walk into it that way.
So do we get to go like into the birth? Can you build the day?
The day before was not glamorous. Our fourth baby was due April 5th. And then April 15th, he still hadn't come. And Zach got a stomach flu and was throwing up.
A stomach bug that lasted like 4 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
The weirdest thing.
So April 15th, Zach gets a stomach bug. Later that night, our son gets the stomach bug. As I'm cleaning it up, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't feel good. I get the stomach bug.
Oh my
The middle of the night, both of our girls get the stomach bug.
And we're at this point, like, they're throwing up on the floor and we're both like crawling on the floor.
We're crawling on the floor, cleaning up vomit.
We're both dying. And she's like, pregnant out the wazoo.
Yeah.
So
41 weeks pregnant.
Like a crab walking.
She shoots me a text. She's like, hey, just so you know, we all have the stomach flu.
Yes.
So if you don't want to come, that's fine. I was like,
totally fine.
That's fine. Like, I'm not scared of sickness. However, just keep in mind, sometimes these things can trigger labor.
Spoke it into existence.
So that, I mean, like Zach said, it was only a few hours for all of us.
Yeah, super strange.
And then like the next day, we're all just kind of like recovering, like laying down on the couch. Everybody's resting. And it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, it's a contraction. Okay. And then it comes again. And I was like, oh no, there's a pattern. It's happening.
I think she looked at me and she said, Zach,
I'm sorry.
I hate to say this right now, but
I think it's starting. So So throughout that day, like everybody was recovering. It was all getting better. Like there was no more throwing up, thankfully. And
But the other part of that too is we had a plan to drop the kids off somewhere, but we're like, they just got over stomach bug. Like we can't drop the kids off.
Send them to somebody.
So now they have to all stay in the house while we go on this adventure of like free birthing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just normal contractions. It wasn't intense. It wasn't anything like that throughout the day. And then right around bedtimes, we put the kids to bed, and then labor kicked up and, starting to become regular and more intense. And so everybody was in bed. We called Sydney, and Sydney kind of just stayed out, stayed out in the doorway, and like, she was very much guarded our space, and
shout out to you.
She had discernment beyond any kind of logic.
You guys did not need me there. I mean, Zach took over everything. He got the fetoscope out, checking heartbeats. He was checking your BP. He was doing everything. You were her midwife. And I was just there to witness.
But it was a comfort to have you there.
Yeah, it was just nice to have the almost like contingency plan of like, okay, if this doesn't go as planned, like,
or just knowing there was extra hands and there was extra support there,
and
whether
prayer.
it was needed or not.
Just knowing that someone is there witnessing you, holding your space, and praying you through it.
But I mean, once the kids were in bed, like the entire atmosphere, I think, transformed. And I know for me, about a week before this baby came, I had been reading I was reading in Mark about how
it's always Mark for you.
I know.
He's your book. He's an amateur guy too. But anyway,
That's the amateur Bible.
No,
the guy, Mark.
The guy that ran naked out of the garden.
Yeah.
What? Is it Mark?
It's Mark. Like, it's Mark where he's like,
he's the one that runs
Jesus
away.
Gets arrested, and it's like, and then randomly, it's like, and then a naked man ran away. Right. No other gospel talks with this naked man, which apparently might be Mark.
Oh, he ratted himself out.
He has no shame.
Anyways, I was reading, and it was Jesus that was talking to the Pharisees or Sadducees, one of them or whatever. But he was convicting them about how their worship was turning to vanity. And so that was like a question for me. I was like, how does our worship turn into vanity? Like, what do we do that makes it about us, kind of thing? And so in approaching birth, I was kind of, not necessarily convicted, just like very aware of how when we do birth naturally, and even for me, like birth has been so empowering in the past of like, yes, I did this, like this is awesome. It kind of like convicted me of like, well, it's not about what I can do. Like, and even in our birth world, a lot of it is like, you are a woman, like, hear me roar kind of thing of like, you are, we kind of like exalt ourselves as like this birth goddess kind of thing. And it's wrong. Like, it's not biblical. So I was like, okay, well, I want to make sure that my birth is something that is worshipful, that is pleasing to the Lord, that gives him the glory and not myself.
And you exemplify that balance of like, I'm confident what my body can do. But it wasn't like I'm confident because like I'm a woman and I can do it. Like it was just like I'm confident because God made me this woman who can give birth. Like but the center and focus was on what God has empowered me to do, not what I'm empowering myself to do. So it was a cool shift that she kind of brought into it.
And it kind of this treasure in earthen vessels that the power may be of God and not of ourselves.
But it was just a really cool perspective shift for me of like, God is the giver of life, and what an honor it is to partner with him to bring forth life. Like that was just a kind of a cool turn of perspective for this last birth. So I felt like as much as our third birth was very romantic, I felt like this fourth birth was very reverent, and almost like Zach and I were in it together, but we were in it just very aware of the Lord's presence and like giving him the glory in this one.
It's almost like different levels, right? Like you go from like hospital birth, which again isn't a bad way of giving birth or anything, but like you go from hospital birth, at least in our story, and you go to like home birth, water birth, midwives, and then you go to like next one of like, all right, now we have like our relationship is on track, and so now you have like this romantic birth, and then you go to the last one we had, and it was like, now you're still romantic, but now we're also inviting the Lord into it. So it's almost like as we keep going through these experiences, it's like they keep just kind of like adding like just amazing, mind blowing experiences with it because it was still romantic.
The next
But
one's
it
going to
was-
be in the ocean, right?
With the dolphin.
Yes, on a dolphin, on a whale.
It's going to be interesting.
Okay.
I will pray for you.
Oh, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But yeah, but there was this like this romantic part of it, but also this very intentional inviting the Lord into the space that we had. And we had worship music playing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just this.
I felt like it very much exemplified the be still and know that I'm God. But like knowing that everything that was happening within my body was like, this is part of the Lord's working and like what he's created. And it was just being able to be still in it and letting it happen and working with it. And it was a really cool experience.
I mean, there's times where you know the Lord's presence is with you, right? But there's these very specific times, at least in my life, where like when you talk about like the Lord's presence being so thick, like you can almost just like touch it. And that was one of those times where it was just the presence of the Lord was so there that it was just undoubtedly the Lord was there. There was peace. Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, like I've never been the one to be like, "Hey, I got you. I'll do everything. I will catch the baby. I will do all this." Like I don't have any experience doing it. Like I've been there for all of them, but like at the same time, but even in that, I guess you can say ignorance of experience, so lack of experience in that, like that, so we're looking for that, like direct way. There was this peace. There was just this absolute peace. Like there was no like, and my mind worries, unfortunately, a lot because like, especially my background and what I've done, there's always these scenarios like, hey, I have this plan, I have this plan, I have this plan. If this goes wrong, I have this. I have this. Yeah. There was nothing that like there was no fear, there was no worry, there was no, I don't even know, like there was no like weird anticipation. Like there was just being present and just enjoying every single second as it was coming. But there was no like, what if it happens this, or what if it's wrong with it? And then, there was none of that. It was just this super peaceful, like just the thick presence of the Lord that was there.
Yes, so good.
Cool. So how did it feel to catch your baby?
That was awesome. It was definitely like, yeah, it was an amazing experience. They're very slippery. Babies are slippery. And then next time, definitely put like a pillow underneath there just in case. But yeah, it was crazy just to start to see like the head coming out, and it was.
So we know, but how were you standing, sitting, squatting? Paint that picture for.
So I was kneeling over the bed. So I was leaning leaning on my bed on my knees. Yeah, and that's how I did the third one too. So third and fourth were both in that position. My third one, I don't even know how I got in that position. I just ended up there.
Yeah, you were a lot more like present for that fourth.
Yes, the fourth one I felt. Yeah, the third, my third birth, I definitely felt like I kind of blacked out at some point. I'm like, I don't know how I ended up here. But this is where I ended up, and it's time to push, apparently. But this one, it was a little bit more intentional of like, I felt, like you said, very present in everything. There's not any moment that I was like, I don't know what's happening, or out of body experience or anything like that with this one.
I mean, and I think it's something we've done with almost all the births, but even, I don't know what it is about, but like just slow dancing.
Yeah.
Like, and like through labors and not labors, through contractions, all that kind of stuff. Like it's just such a sweet time.
Yeah.
I think
that's my move. That's what works.
I know you're in pain, but it's great. Good. But no, it was just, it's very sweet that the slow dancing, and then even just, okay, I'm going to get in this position. Like, all right, cool. And then once you actually were like, hey, I think I'm going to start, I feel like that's, coming to that time where I'm going to start pushing. Not pushing, but the baby's coming. We actually asked City to go wake up our oldest daughter, Zoe, because she really wanted to be a part of it. And so it's actually kind of cool of the way the Lord orchestrated the whole thing. So our plan was to have all the kids out.
Yeah.
But when the way things came about, they were all there. So we were able to wake up Zoe. And so she was a part of the whole thing. Aww. And so she was like holding Shelby's hand, stroking her hair.
I saw,
it was so cool. Even just like, I'm there and I'm about to get like, hey, you're good. Just breathe through the contractions. And you can hear Zoe in the background going, Mom, you're doing great. Just breathe, Mama. And so it was just cool for, I think, really cool. Her to see the connection between me and Shelby, and just to see and experience birth in that way too.
Yeah.
But yeah, at some point, I'm telling you, I was ready and prepared. Like at some point, because we had like the lights down low, but I wanted to be able to see what was going on. I had this like headlamp, and you can't see like Cindy took the video, but I had this headlamp, and I was like all up in there, and I was like, all right, cool, and it was helpful. It was super helpful.
We have headlamps in our birth bag.
Oh yeah, but this thing is like it's not meant for like
catch the slippery baby.
Exactly. This thing was like you could see like 100 yards down the street.
You could see into the whole birth canal.
It also had like translucent thing when you could like see into the belly.
Oh my gosh!
But no, it was a really cool. It was just such a mind blowing. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So how has that experience changed how you view birth and
how I view birth?
Did it change anything?
It just kind of more reassured and like confirmed that like our bodies are capable and that God has a perfect craftness to how He's created us to birth, and that babies know what they're doing, and we like our bodies know what we're doing even if we don't. Like there's just so much intricacy in the design of birth that even if you don't know it as the birthing person, like it's it works and it happens. So yeah.
I know for me it's really interesting because it was almost like this revelation of and there's a delicate balance of it, but when God creates a system or way of things to work, right? As man we try to improve it or make it more convenient or
take control
of it. And some of those things are good, like medical advances are great, technology is fantastic, but sometimes you kind of cross that line where like you kind of warp the purpose of what God created something to be for. And so when you look at birth, obviously it's all unassisted birth, and you hear a lot of the stuff all of you amazing women talk about, but like talking about how like, hey, like women are made for this and the baby knows what they're doing and everything. But it was an interesting experience. I think we talked about it shortly after, but I was like, I wonder like the father's role in birth. Cause like way back when, like I know they had midwives, but I'm sure the fathers were also a lot more involved than maybe what they are now. So
Adam and Eve, I hope.
Yeah, right? But like I was thinking about it where, if God creates this unit, God creates this institution of marriage and family and everything else. Like I wonder what kind of role the husband was supposed to have, that God, like with the thought process of God created the husband with a specific role in birth as well, and how much that like instinctual birth keeping instincts as a father, like how much we miss out on that because we just want someone else to do it, and we're not comfortable with it. And being in that role, I'm telling you, like I'm sure it's somewhat similar maybe, but the instincts just kind of took over. Like never caught a baby before. I don't know, but like even like in the video you can see like I caught the baby and then like baby rolled over and like it was just everything was just so instinctual.
Yeah.
Like there really was no there was some preparation, but it was very instinctual. And I do think that I believe that God's also created this instinct for men as well, to be that support for their wives in those birthing spaces, even if they've had no experience, even if they don't know what they're doing. And you still got to do legwork and research and make sure you're prepped. But there is that point where like you can only do so much research, and then you have to just kind of have to go for it, But there is that instincts that I believe that men are also created with, that maybe sometimes they don't tap into because they don't put themselves in that position to be able to tap into it. I think.
I wonder if men hesitate because they're used to being that leadership role. They're not used to that support role for women, so maybe it's just unfamiliar or uncomfortable to step into.
Well, and the strength role too. I think I know it's true for my own births. My husband's strength was so key for me when I didn't feel like I had the strength. I could feel his strength and his bigness, So I think when what you're saying, when a man steps into that intuitive, keeping strength role for their wife, it allows us to be fully feminine, and we're no more feminine than we are in birth. Like that is the most feminine we will ever be.
That was a beautiful reflection.
It was cool. I mean, I feel like the Lord has really been speaking to us a lot through a lot of our seasons and experiences. But I was really excited too that just the Zoe, got to be a part of it, because I think she was 6 at the time, because right before her birthday.
Yes, it was right before her birthday.
I mean, you talk about all the time, the best things you can do for your kids is, love your spouse. Yeah. That's the best thing you can do for your kids, right? So for her to be in that birth space, for her to see that, for her to see like, I want my husband to support, my mom, like me, like I've seen, my dad support my mom. I want to be as vulnerable with somebody too, like my mom is with my dad. And, for her to just experience that, I mean, she got to cut the umbilical cord. She got to do like all the things. So,
and how redeeming, right?
Yeah.
For everything.
Whole circle.
Whole family.
The whole family. How redeeming.
Yeah.
To have that and her present.
Oh, it was amazing. That part was cool too. Just having Zoe be a part of it. Yep. And then even too, it was just funny because, I mean, afterwards she was like, I saw Mama give birth.
My daughter is 17 and she still talks about cutting the cord and being present for her youngest. It's transformative.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I also think too, it gives, kids are always impressionable, but especially at that age when they start to really come into like who they are and their identity and those things really start to get formed. For her to have that confidence of like, Mama's a girl and I'm a girl, but I could do that too. Like, I think I want to give birth. I think I want to have a child. I think I want to be married. I want, all those things. Like, we really enjoy those things the Lord created us to enjoy: marriage, birth, kids, and then it makes it attractive to your kids, and then they want the same things that you have because you're making it. You're doing it the way the Lord wants it to be, and when you do things the way the Lord wants you to do it, it becomes attractive to the people who don't have that yet. So it's just
first impressions are so important, especially for kids, because it becomes true. That first impression is truth to that person. And in order to change that first impression, you got to go through a lot of stuff. So it's really, really awesome when kids can experience birth in that way. So you really set your kids up, and you really set your daughter up in the future for having a beautiful, peaceful birth. And that's beautiful in itself.
It was cool too. We got the, again, shout out to you. I mean, you made a beautiful video. Like the pictures, video, everything was just totally mind-blowing.
That's all I could do. You had everything else. I was like, I guess I'll just take pictures and video for you.
I had the headlamp. I had the...
Yes, you had everything.
It's on me, man.
But it was cool. Even in the video, like we sent the video to a bunch of people that we thought.
The full video?
Sure. Some people got the full video. Some people just got that short little snippet.
Yeah.
But everyone, because it was a 5-minute video and like a 2-minute video or something. But in both of them, we sent it to aunts and uncles, parents. I mean, everyone, and we're obviously so excited about it. Some people are like, I'm good.
We sent disclaimers. Yeah, we were like,
hey,
if you're interested,
there's like vaginas in it and stuff. But it was cool because even people would watch it like, that's the most peaceful birth I've ever seen. And because all their experiences are a hospital and C-sections,
Hollywood births
and and everything. So I think it opened up a lot of other people's hearts and minds to the idea of like, oh wow, that's what birth can be. That's really cool. I didn't think that was even possible. Like I remember showing my parents, and some of my parents were like, I never thought that's what birth could be. They were like, that was beautiful. That was amazing. So it just, again, it's all credit to how the Lord orchestrated everything and what the Lord did. But just, I don't know, for us, like for me at least, like the key things, like communication and then transparency between you and me, working on marriage, having our marriage solid, and then just inviting the Lord into that space were like keys to that being so as amazing as it was. But it all comes back to Jesus. Jesus being the center of everything, the center of the marriage, center of the reason why we're giving birth, center of the reason why we're having kids.
The reason.
Jesus needs to be the center of everything. And it's like you said in the beginning, it's amazing when you start to realign all your decisions and everything you do with the intention of connecting with Jesus. It's amazing what flows from that.
So will you do it again?
Oh yeah.
Probably.
I'll speak for both of us. Yes. Trying very hard to get a
Zach is so ready to be a midwife.
She doesn't know yet, but we're having like 4 more kids.
She's like, wait.
Probably 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. We always had a number of kids. Like, just probably like 2 or 3 maybe.
3 was our number for a while. Yeah.
And then I think it was my mom who gave us a book, and we didn't read the whole thing. Sorry, Mom. But we but there was a section of it that talked about
And this is for us personally, like
Yes.
everybody's different
Yeah.
kind of thing. But it was something about how the Lord is open and involved in bringing children into the world, and like how we allow it, and the invention of birth control, and like what the purpose of it was. And then it started like raising questions as well, like, are we supposed to be in control of birth? Like, are we supposed to have birth control? Like, are we? And so, we just started asking ourselves questions of like, did we just make up a number of how many kids we want? Like, did we even ask God, like, how many do you want us to have? Like,
so again, just bringing the Lord into our decisions and honoring him in that way, and go, okay, Lord, well, like, how many kids do you want us to have? And then not really getting like a super clear answer, but we definitely felt like led to just kind of pull all the stops and be like, all right, we're not really like trying, but we're also not like preventing either. Like, we're just gonna have
it's called open womb method.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because with Eden, when I was pregnant with the one that I lost, I thought like maybe 4 is it. Maybe 4 is going to be it. But while I was pregnant, I was like, this isn't my last pregnancy. Mm-hmm. I know it. And so.
So, and again, I don't think either of us think that there's anything unbiblical about contraceptives or birth control. I think that's a personal decision. I don't think there's anything in the Bible that says like, thou shalt not use birth control. But like, it was just for us personally as a couple, we felt very led to like kind of pull those and go, okay, well, let's just have like loads of fun and then see what happens, and then just kind of go from there. And it's been, even in that, there's so much freedom in it. Like, there isn't like a worry of like, well, okay, we'll use birth control. And there's not this worry of like, well, you're still on thing, like, there's just this freedom. There's freedom of just enjoying each other, and just I don't know. Once I'm sure you can test it. Like, once you hit 4 kids, it's almost just like,
what's another thing?
I remember walking out of the bathroom, being like, I'm gonna go get a pregnancy test, and then confirming that I was in fact pregnant. And my husband was like, oh, well, did we want 5? Like, I was like, well, we didn't make plans to not. So but again, like, living in freedom, we had the understanding that we want to enjoy each other, and we don't want to have to worry about like, where are we in the cycle, and should we or shouldn't we? We just allowed it to happen. And collectively, there would have been 9 children, but the Lord saw fit to take 4 home. So but
well, it all goes back to fear and anxiety is not of the Lord.
Yes, true. Right. So true.
Just good. But that's definitely, I think, one of those personal conviction topics. But it's been freeing for us personally as a couple to just it's been cool.
So any little nuggets of wisdom you want to leave with our audience, our listeners?
There's just trust. You just gotta trust birth, and like trust your body, trust the Lord, trust how it works. It all works out for his good and for his glory.
I think in seeing you walk through pregnancies and labor and birth and everything, I've always been so astounded by how much you trust the Lord and how he made your body capable. Like, you are like, I think that's one of the biggest things I've seen you do that's just kind of helped you through everything. Is like, you just have this confidence of like, I haven't had an ultrasound in how many months, but like, baby's kicking, I feel good, nothing's wrong, like, I don't think I need one. And be like, all right, cool, like, no matter what anyone else tells you, you're like, no, I think I'm fine. There's that fine line of like arrogance and like, but you just have this like humble confidence. Like this confidence that the Lord gave you the power to be able to do that.
Thanks.
But I think I know we've been saying it, but I think the only nugget of wisdom I would have in it is just, I know it might seem like off the topic of birth, but I share your secrets. Like, just get them out. Like, it's a painful process and it sucks. but I'm telling you, like, not just birth, but like our entire marriage was transformed when we truly accepted the Lord's guidance of confession and transparency with each other. And you're one flesh, you're one body. So I mean, how can you be one flesh with secrets? Like, like, how can you have that oneness and unity and be unconditionally loved by your spouse, but only conditionally known? Like, that's not how that happens. And
it's like ignoring gangrene on your foot, right? Like, your sin rots the bones and the body, and so you can only limp along for so long until you can't ignore that anymore.
Yeah, and there's just something, I know you've said it before, but there's just something sacred about that birthplace, you know? And the thing I was thinking of actually on the way over here is, and I'm going to probably get some of the terms wrong and whatnot, but in the Old Testament, before the priest would go as a mediator, you know, for the people, before they would go into the Holy of Holies, they would tie the bell around the foot with the rope. But before they would go in there, they would have to make sure they sacrificed and confessed all of their sins so they would walk in blameless into that Holy of Holies in that sacred place where they would die in the presence of the Lord. And so you kind of think about that, and it's kind of the same mentality before you go into that birthplace, which is super vulnerable for her, which is super vulnerable for the man, because again, like you said, we want to know everything walking into it. You just can't, like, you don't know what you're walking into. And, you know, I can only, no matter how many experiences you have, like, I don't have a womb and I don't have a vagina and I can't have a baby myself. So like, there's only so much that you can actually like mansplain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't have that experience. So you have to be vulnerable as a man to kind of support your wife. Like you say, you have a leadership role, but it's only so far. Like, this is weird, like blend, which puts men a lot of times in that very vulnerable spot because they're so used to having control. And so again, going into that sacred place of, you know what, like, let's confess all things we need to confess. Let's get out on the table. Let's work through this as a couple and really solidify our marriage, make sure that we're good. And at least in our experience, we found to be true that if me and her are good, and me and her are good with the Lord, and the Lord is truly that third strand around both of us, like, there's nothing that we can't overcome. There's nothing that we can't climb over, whether it's birth, whether it's whatever. I mean, marriage is a beautiful thing. Birth is a beautiful thing if you do it God's way. You know, and once you start doing God's way and you're vulnerable and transparent and open and all of that kind of stuff, like, it makes everything so much better, including birth, you know?
Yeah. That was a good picture.
That kind of answered my final question. I was going to ask what you wanted to share with the men who may have been sent this episode by their wives or you know.
Just transparency. It like I said, it sucks. And a lot of guys, unfortunately, just don't have the experience of being vulnerable, whether it's how they were raised, their father.
Stigmas of emotional men.
It's conditioned out of you to be in that vulnerable space.
There's just, and sometimes men are really good at being vulnerable with other men, but for some reason, when it comes to their spouse, it's like this weird blockage. I believe it's a tactic of the enemy to try to ruin what God created to be amazing.
Of course.
But I'm telling you, like, whether it's a small, like, just start small. Like, as a dude, like, if you're uncomfortable telling this to your wife or just normal, I mean, it's just go to, hey, I have something to tell you, whether it's something small, and just build. You know, like, there's definitely a tact to it. There's definitely a context for it. Like, not when she's doing dishes, being like, not that women have to do dishes. But you know, like,
she's watching the football game.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. but like, you know, there's a time and a place for everything, right? Not going up to her when she's busy and be like, hey, I have to tell you a secret. Like, you know, there's that, like, hey, can I talk to you after the kids are to bed? Can we have to, like, make some tea, coffee? Like, when can we talk for dinner?
Yeah.
But that's just transparency. So for guys, I would say the biggest thing is just step out of your comfort zone and be honest with your wife. Share all the secrets. Get it out on the table. And wives to, you know, husbands too. But as a husband, just speaking, to be honest, just be vulnerable. Just get it out on the table. And in that, you know, your wife's going to feel like she can be more vulnerable with you. And the more she's vulnerable, you can feel like you're vulnerable. And then just back and forth with vulnerability. And then come birth time, you know, it's not weird to be all up.
It's not weird to be vulnerable.
It's not hard to be all up in there because, you know, like, physical vulnerability is nothing compared to emotional and spiritual vulnerability. Like, once you got that, everything else is, you know, it's the icing on the cake.
I think we can all, as women, second and tell you as men who may watch this that we want nothing more than that. We want that vulnerability because it makes us feel safe. And so this episode pretty much cracked the code on women. I think we can safely say, if men offered what you are suggesting, their true vulnerable hearts, as women, because you're probably tempted to think she's going to crush me or leave me or hate me forever. Where the opposite is true. If you come to us with this vulnerability, we want to hold that vulnerability. We might be hurt. We might be mad initially, but ultimately we want that desperately. And that, as you said, opens this floodgate of beauty where strength and femininity can cohabitate in the most beautiful, perfect way, which is what Christ intended, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you talk about strength, and again, with stigmas with men, like there is nothing harder than telling your wife like you royally messed up. Like there is a strength in that, you know what I mean? And it's hard to attain. Like, you know, we say, you know, it's the cliche, you know, men will go into a burning building to, you know, sacrifice themselves, but you know, it's hard for them to sit down and be like, hey, I looked at something I shouldn't have. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's just, there's a certain type of strength that only comes from the Lord to confess those things to your wife. And like, you know, I think it's the book of James that if you confess your sins, you will be healed.
Yeah.
And imagine,
Yeah.
imagine not only the healing for yourself when you do it, but if you're confessing it to your spouse, you yourself will be healed, but you're also healing your spouse at the same time, even if she doesn't know why she's wounded. Right? Because sometimes when we're wounded, it wounds your spouse and they don't even know why they're wounded. Because you are
It just
one.
starts transcending the rest of the family because everything affects it.
I mean, if you bring healing through confession to your spouse, like you said, there's going to be emotions, and feel those and talk through them and process them. But you know, not only will you be healed, but then your spouse gets healed, and then your marriage starts to get healed, and then your kids start to get healed, and then your household atmosphere starts to get healed, and then you just keep it going. Like there's just this healing that just transcends everywhere, rather than like going and telling my buddies and then just kind of coming back. Like there's just a different type of healing that not only is for yourself, but for, you know, everyone involved. But again, full circle back to birth. It's just having that atmosphere and that healing everywhere, and then going into birth. It's just you're coming from a place of a strong foundation that's rooted in Jesus, and then everything else that follows is just from that foundation.
It brings it all back to a perfect place of purity where, you know, new life gets to come into, you know, pureness instead of, you know, taintedness.
Again, something we could talk about all day. But even like too, like it just, you're still gonna have valleys. You're still gonna have hard things. Like we had a great marriage when we had our miscarriage, but you know, things still happen. But I think we were talking about it the other day. It's like you still have valleys, but you're not alone in them anymore.
They're not so
you still
lonely.
have valleys, but you have someone to walk through them with. You still have high highs, and now you get to enjoy them with somebody. Like there's just a different type of, you still have highs and lows, but there's just a different type of companionship, partnership, and vulnerability that comes from it.
Yeah. Is there anything that you want to add to the mothers who may have sent their partners or husbands to this episode?
With all this, like we also have to create a safe space for our husbands to invite them to be vulnerable and to be their safe place too. Like as much as we want them to be our safe place, they need to rely on us to be their safe place, so that we can create that safe space for, you know, babies to come into the world. And I also think that just knowing more about, I think about birth in general, like knowing your bodies and knowing how things work gives you more confidence in it too, on a more technical level of, if you understand the pelvis and you understand how contractions work and how babies rotate and, you know, all the ins and outs, sometimes that can build your confidence in the birth process also.
Yeah. So Shelby, you actually went through doula training with this last pregnancy.
Yeah. We're so happy.
Yeah. So we get to welcome Shelby into the birth worker world here in our local town with open arms. And, we're really excited about
Shout out to her. I mean, she did the course while being a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
Which I don't know how it's possible.
While I was pregnant with my fourth.
Yes.
I
don't know.
I finished right before he came.
It was pretty,
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we'll have to make sure we put all of your information down below too.
Yes.
So what's next for you guys other than 4 more kids apparently? Zach?
Not 4, maybe 2. Maybe 2.
I don't know.
We plan on staying where we are. We're not moving anywhere anytime soon.
Honestly, I think it's just, I mean, our mindset right now is just kind of living in the moment. Like, I mean, we're still like, you know, prepping for the future, making sure that we got like security. Like, but I think for us, it's a lot of just enjoying what's here. Yeah. Sometimes you get some really good things that happen. Like we're in a really sweet season right now, which is amazing. Yeah. But sometimes you like miss out on the sweet season because you're like, all right, well, I need to prep for the bad one that's coming. And then you're in the bad season, and all you can think about is, well, okay, we just got to hold on to the hope for the good season. And the good season comes, and you're like, all right, well, I got to prep for the bad one. Like you're just in this weird cycle of never actually enjoying the season that you're in. Yeah. So I think for us, it's just right now, like we're just, whatever season comes, whatever season we're in, just feeling it, being present for it, soaking it in, not missing it, And
much like birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly.
And I think we've walked through so much in our marriage and with births and everything that we both have a passion for marriage and a passion for birth.
I know. I'm waiting for this marriage class or like
I know.
marriage group to
Are
come
you guys
about.
talking at the marriage night? Because you should.
Well, it's amazing. I know Richards gave us the opportunity. We've been doing marriage small groups.
Yeah.
At the YMCA right now. So I think we're in our third one.
Third season?
Third or fourth, I don't know. But even that,
fourth. It's our fourth season.
Fourth one. Yep, fourth one. And so even that's been amazing.
Yeah.
That experience.
So I think for us, as far as what's next, is we just want to keep being ministering to people when it comes to marriage and when it comes to birth, just continuing to stretch that out as far as we can.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's one of those things that, the Lord, I don't believe that the Lord just heals you or your marriage or, blesses you in certain ways to just take that and hide.
Yeah,
You're supposed to take that and then help other people to get that same healing, that same blessing, and to help. Like, it's all a ripple effect, And so I think that's where we're, like, Shelby said, like, we want to be there also for other couples and other marriages and other, people who want to even want to give birth that way and be like, yeah, well, like, we did it too. Like, it's amazing. Like, I don't know. Like, we want to advocate for marriages. We want to advocate for amazing births. We want to advocate for just doing things, I think, wholly, just doing things in a way that God created to do them.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like.
Amazing.
Thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing all of your wisdom and your awesome birth stories.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting us to be here.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, we'll have to get you on again for a whole other topic on marriage alone.
Truly. I think that would be so good.
Yeah.
So beneficial.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next time, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks. And thanks for the tea.
Yeah, of course.
See what kind of mother I'm going to become. It's Mother's Tea.
Mother's Tea.
Thank you for entering the birth room with us, a space where stories breathe, wisdom flows, and the veil between heaven and earth grows thin. If today's episode stirred something in you, we invite you to linger with it, to share it, to sit with it, to carry it into your own sacred spaces. Follow the Birth Room podcast and connect with us as we continue to remember, reclaim, and surrender birth together. Until next time, walk gently, surrender wholly, and never forget, birth is holy ground.